Hello there. Welcome back to Flip Flop Gaming. Dan here. Thanks for watching. We're jumping back into our Super Metroid Let's Play with Episode 4. And if you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe. In our last episode, we were very productive. We started off by defeating another mini-boss in Norfair. Shortly after that, we took a shortcut and got the power bombs earlier than you normally would in a playthrough. And after that, we were able to get the grappling beam. We then left Norfair and went back up through Brinstar and out a different exit to Crateria. And on the way, we collected the X-ray scope, which will allow us to discover more secrets in the game. And we got a couple energy tanks aside from that, and just additional supply of missiles, super missiles, and power bombs. So let's jump in and see what is next in our adventure. And now we pop out right here. Which is perfect because we are not actually going back to the ship just yet. Still not going in that door. We do have some other things we need to get done back in Brinstar. So we're gonna head back to the plant area for the second time. Back to the fun music. Love this. Okay, so there is quite a bit more we can do here, and we'll start on this first door on the right. But yeah, let me just fall all the way back down instead of being efficient about this. Yeah, I think this is the right one. Yeah, okay. So, if you recall from our first episode, we couldn't run all that fast, so we couldn't quite finish this puzzle, but now we can. So there we go. And that's basically what's back here. We've got our second reserve tank. So we're going to get even more HP, or rather energy, in reserve. So let's just see our suit. Yeah, now that gives us, we've only filled up a little bit of the first reserve tank, but once we fill both of them up, we'll have an extra 200 energy. Should the worst happen and we actually need it, but I'm hoping we don't. And yeah, you can X-ray that, but yeah, I knew it was there. But just more missiles. Like I said, we're going to be getting most of the missiles in the game, so this is just more on the checklist. And rather than going back a slow way, we're going to do another shortcut. And finally, our second super missile canister. We've been stuck at 5 for a very long time, so this is very helpful. Okay, now that that's done, there is something else. We can actually go straight down here. So let me just grab a save real quick for no reason, really. Again, old habits die hard. What can I say? But you might, if you've got a quick eye, you might have caught when we were here the first time that there's this whole area below that we didn't go. And yeah, there's a very specific reason for that. This one block here was actually a power bomb block, so there was no way we could have done that before. But I was aware of that, so we just waited. We've got a couple things to do here. Just blow up these guys. Yeah, they kind of just sap your health slowly. They don't do a lot of damage. Okay, so this is something to look out for. It's a 3-block wide hole, so ideally we can bypass that. So just get a little running start, holding A to dash or sprint, and then we made it past. So let's go in here. I want to say this is super missiles. Yeah. See? Rapid fire super missiles. This is going to really help us out. And I believe that is all we can get in that room. So we actually do want to fall down this hole now. Energy? Nope, save. Okay, let's go down here. Yeah, kind of a pain. You gotta just lightly tap the jump button to jump a really low height. It takes a lot of practice. So this is actually where you learn how to wall jump. They don't exactly teach you, but they show you how you can do it. So we already practiced that, we being me, of course. And then there's this little hole here for another item. So yeah, this is a pretty valuable area. There's several items you can get in pretty quick rapid succession. So yeah, definitely worthwhile to come back through here, so I'm glad we did. But that's all we need to do down here. Yeah, the controls do get a little finicky sometimes. Okay, so back out. And now we can actually continue. So this is, we're gonna do another sequence here, and this will actually show us a trick to do with our speed booster. So I mentioned there was different ways to jump using the speed booster. So this is kind of a tutorial on how to do that as well. So we're kind of like figuring out these different things, or different tools in our arsenal that we can use. Nothing there. So let's watch this ostrich looking alien. So he's gonna run, and then he presses down or crouches, and then he shoots straight up. Well, we can actually use that same technique ourselves. And we just shot back through that. See, these were speed booster blocks. So we have an easy way to run through those. And let me see, we do have something else to do here. So, you might remember, yeah, there's actually a couple things. I'm gonna go in this door first. So this is a power bomb door. So we're gonna open this door and go in here. And this will get us a couple more items. Or one more, I don't remember exactly. You can use grapple, there's a grapple block there, but I find just wall jumping is easier. Alright, another energy tank. So many items to get back through here now that we've got all the right gear. And that brings us up to 7. That's great. I don't think there's anything else we can get in here, so we're probably safe to move on. Okay, so that's it for that room. But there's still more to do. We're not done yet. So you might recall, we did this in the first episode. We just did a wall jump. We could actually do this the real way now with grapple. And there was also some power bomb blocks that we could break right here. You might think, oh, we just go down. But there's an invisible pathway. So, yep, we can come back in here and get even more items. And I think this is a super missile block. Yeah. For more power bombs. And I think the only thing to do from here is to just get out. Just drops us back down here. Okay, so with that, I think we've basically gotten most extra things. There is a little bit of blue on the bottom part of the map there, but we do need one more item to really finish that area, so we will be back one more time. But yeah, for now we're gonna move on. So the next secret, we'll be going up here in a second, but there is something else that we'll be getting before that. Here, this little tube. Gets us more missiles. Okay, and I think that is the last thing that we can do down here. So now we're gonna head back up. So the map actually tells us that we can come in here, so it's not that much of a secret, but we just couldn't do it before. You need high jump boots and also a power bomb. And if you'll recall, we're pretty close to the area where we got the morph ball, our first item in the game. So that was right here. I think these are power bomb blocks, yeah. So yeah, this was where our morph ball was when we first started. And there's the elevator back up to where our ship is. We got our first missiles down there. Now there's enemies here, so that's a little bit different from what we saw before. And this is why we're here. This energy tank that I pointed out way in the beginning of our playthrough. And there is something to do here, I'll just show you. So we've got a power bomb block, and we can actually do our speed booster jump straight up this corridor from where I am. But there is another item we do need to really do that effectively. There's a way to cheese it, but I won't really bother with that just because it'll take probably several tries, and I wouldn't want to watch someone just try that multiple times. So we're just going to progress. And let me think. Yeah, we're just going to go back up to Crateria, and we're going to go find the next area. And of course I picked the way to get back up that has the long jumping sequence. So that was very smart on my part. I could have picked the easier way, but nope. Apparently I like to pick the hard way. Back up here, we haven't seen this in a while, but here we are again. I don't think there's anything else we need to do here. I'm pretty sure we covered everything. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna hit up our save just to see how much total gear we've collected. I think it's just some power bombs to fill in. Yep. Not too bad. Alright, we do need a running start, so I'm gonna back up a bit to get through this little area. There we go. We already shot that super missile door. Usually when you open a door with whatever required weapon, it just changes to a blue door, which is, you can open it with just your regular beam. So you really only have to do these once. And now we're in a new area. So this we couldn't do until we got the grapple. So we got the grapple, now we can come this way. And these blocks look a little bit different because, oh no. Of course I would fall. Yeah, luckily there's no air in this game, so our suit allows us to breathe underwater, we just are not very maneuverable in it. Oops. So these blocks actually collapse after you... We'll sit here, see? It just blinked real quick, so if you're still holding onto it when it blinks, it knocks you off of your grapple. Okay, so we are now just to the right of our ship, heading towards the wrecked ship. But we got one item to get here before we actually head into it. So let's do that. Now you can't use bombs to make your character kind of bounce when you're in the morph ball in water. Normally you can. But because we're in water, we don't react that way. So to get into this little spot that's off the ground, you actually have to jump and get into a morph ball, like just in midair. Just doing some grappling. That's all we gotta do with the grapple. Okay, so the next area, now we are officially in the wrecked ship. So this place starts out pretty creepy. The music's definitely creepy. We'll actually see it in a second here, but there's a lot of stuff that's powered down right now. So we can go in a few doors, but we can't really do much here just yet. So if we go in here, see all these little things that are floating everywhere, they're like bugs. This save station is actually not working. And we've got these like phantom skulls that appear every so often. So I'm not going to bother going up because I know there's nothing to do going up. So I'm just going to start heading down because I know that's the direction. But yeah, we couldn't, there's not really too much we can do if we go up. It's just kind of an empty corridor. But we can shoot these. Yeah, that skull just kind of like appears out of nowhere and typically almost right on your character. Okay, let's see what's in here. If you've caught on, these types of doors usually lead to a boss, so what do you think is next? Now, I'm not exactly sure what this boss is called, but he's basically a phantom. I used to always struggle with this boss, but I've gotten better over the years. Yeah, this is a tricky mechanic to dodge. But we do have a lot of energy, so that's good. We basically have to wait for him to open his eye. Yep, similar sequence, he just gets a little bit faster. One more hit, I think should do it. But yeah, he ends up doing a fair amount of damage, so I'm glad we're prepared with our energy tanks. Yeah, I guess I could be doing that to dodge that stuff. There we go. He's blinking, he's done. Yeah, I gotta say, you could probably dodge the flame circle that he kind of throws at you if you just like jump over and switch sides, but I don't know. I've not practiced that part of the fight enough. But that's why I just get a bunch of energy tanks instead, so I don't have to worry about it quite as much. So now that we've killed him, this part of the ship is activated, so these little robots are now moving around. We can actually coax them in certain directions just by shooting them. And I guess they like to shoot me back occasionally. Our map station. So we can see, this is a pretty small area. So there are obviously some secret areas we can still explore, but it is pretty small anyway. Yeah, we can get something else in here that's helpful. More super missiles. Also, important to note, anywhere that you see that sparking from the circuits, that will actually damage you. So you'll probably get to see it at some point when I do it accidentally, so I'm not going to show you. Actually, you know what, I know I said that, but there you go, see? And we're not going to do that yet. That will get us to kind of the next area that we're wanting to go to, because there's still some things we want to do aside. I will go ahead and grab this save for not really any reason. But it's activated now, so we can use it. I think before, yeah, I'm just gonna, we'll get back to where we need to go. And there's also a few items here. I don't think we want to do this yet. There's a few other things we can get. Actually, maybe we do. Let me just check. Oh yeah, I can't do that yet, but just to see. Another reserve tank. We actually can't get to that reserve tank from this area, so this is basically just a dead end. They like to tease you. Like, hey, look at this thing you can get, but oh, you have to figure out how to get there, because you can't do it here. I don't think there's any secrets here. There is right here. Let's see, we do want to get those missiles, so yes, of course. Okay, yeah, we want to, I think there's a different, actually, maybe we do just go this way. Nope. Alright, so I screwed that up. But no matter, we can get back there pretty quick. We've almost refilled our health from the boss. Yeah, it's just, he does a lot of damage, and he can take a lot of damage, so he's kind of a tricky boss. Actually gonna head back this way because there's an item that we can get. the way we need to go. This isn't storyline, but still something we can get here. Yeah, these robots, we actually push into these little spiky areas, mostly just to get them out of the way. It does take a little bit, it's kind of annoying. Okay, so we'll go ahead and conclude episode 4 right now. And as usual, thank you so much for watching, and please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode.